Hey everyone, welcome to the Showdown. Today I'll be baking out 4 popular chocolate cake recipes to see which one is the best. So on today's lineup, we have chocolate cake recipes from Hershey's, Garten, At a Pinch, and Martha Stewart. So let's get started. Up first, we have Hershey's chocolate cake, the classic recipe. It starts by sifting your dry ingredients. And the sifting is just kind of to get rid of all the chunks. To this, we'll add our wet ingredients. So we mix this in an electric mixer for 2 minutes. It takes a cup of boiling water. So Ben, an actual pastry chef, is here doing the hard work on the side, so thank you, Ben. So I'll pour this in and give it one more mix. And it is super loose, kind of watery. It's probably the loosest cake batter I've ever worked with. And then this goes into 2 prepared pans. And then these go into the oven and they bake. So while the cakes are baking, we'll go ahead and make the frosting. So the cakes have baked and they have cooled in their pans. We'll trim off the top so it lays nice and flat when we go to frost it. And now it's the fun part, we're gonna build it. So let's go. So Hershey's cake, it's pretty, but it's pretty basic. There's nothing really wow about it. So difficulty, this was super easy. This was like the easiest of all chocolate cakes. So let's cut this and try it. Ben, do you want a slice?
I would love a slice.
That's a pretty slice.
Yeah.
That's good. So appearance, I take it back, it's really pretty. It cuts perfectly. That's pretty good.
It's good. It is solid.
It's a little damp. Like if it's possible for a cake to be too moist, it's right on the border there.
I also feel like there's not a lot of complexities within it. It just tastes like a Hershey's.
If there was salt in the frosting, it would really help balance out the cake. Mm-hmm. It's a good cake. It's not a wow.
I took a second bite.
So next up, we have Garten's chocolate cake. So first, we'll go ahead and sift your dry ingredients. And you're gonna mix this just so all the dry ingredients are combined. In a separate bowl, you're gonna mix all your wet ingredients. So once this is combined, we're gonna add some hot coffee to it. And the batter is super loose, just like the last one. And then these just go into oven to bake. So Ina's frosting specifically calls for good chocolate. So I find if you use a serrated knife and you just kind of rock back and forth, it makes chopping big blocks of chocolate way easier. This is the only frosting recipe that actually uses chocolate in it. So I have high hopes for it. So once the chocolate has cooled to room temperature, it's time to make the frosting. We're gonna slowly add the melted chocolate into this. So the frosting is done. I think it looks beautiful. It's super fluffy. So Ina's cakes have baked and they have cooled. So we'll start building this. Here we have Ina's cake. Appearance-wise, it's very smooth. It's a bit lighter in color. It looks like makeup foundation. So appearance-wise, this is like drugstore foundation. It's nice. Difficulty, it was probably the hardest of all the cakes. It was as difficult as you'd expect a Hampton's fancy chocolate cake to be. So Hampton's level difficulty. Ben, do you want to try a cake?
Love to.
Cool.
Oh, it slices like a dream.
It's very soft. It's the line in the middle is really pretty.
Yeah, it's very nice. I'm really excited for this one.
It smells good.
It's good.
You can taste the coffee for sure.
But it's like really nice in there.
If you didn't like coffee, you wouldn't like this cake. The flavor is robust,
Yes.
coffee forward, chefy.
chefy.
The texture is rich without being dense.
Yeah, it's a really delicious, rich, lovely cake.
Yeah.
I would not be mad about getting a slice of this.
Not at all. So now we're on to add a pinch, and when you actually search chocolate cake recipe on Google, this is one of the most popular recipes, so we figured we had to give it a try. So this batter is super loose. It's the loosest of all four. Pretty much looks like chocolate sauce, so I'm interested to see how this bakes up. While the cakes are baking, we'll go ahead and make add a pinch's frosting. And then lastly, just like Ina's recipe, we're going to add instant espresso powder. So that's it. It's super fluffy. It's much paler in color than the other frostings, and it smells very strongly of coffee. I should also note that this was made with 5 cups of powdered sugar and 3 sticks of butter, so it is the most intense out of all the frosting recipes. The cakes have baked and they are completely cooled, and if you look closely, they both cracked on top. This is the only cake that's done that so far. See, now I'm getting too weird about it. I need to stop.
And cake.
And cake.
That's perfect. That's perfect. You have to like restrain yourself from like the chocolate cake.
No
It's
more.
Like, no. Beautiful.
Cool. If you look, there's a ton of frosting left over. If you make this frosting recipe, feel free to cut it in half, and I think you'll still be fine. Here we have add a pinch cake, and it looks really nice. The frosting peaks really nicely. It looks light and fluffy and plentiful. It looks good. I'm excited to try it. It feels fudgy. It takes like effort to slice this.
Okay.
It feels moist.
Yeah, it feels really.
It's really good.
It's a good cake.
This is really good. The texture is
Yes.
great. The texture is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, this recipe reminded me a lot of Ina's recipe, but it's not as coffee forward. It's not as intense or robust.
This is a good, straightforward chocolate cake. It's not trying to be fancy. Baron's is pretty, but it's not like great.
I mean, I have Ina as the comparison because the recipes are so similar. Her frosting held a little bit better, but this one looks really light and fluffy.
It's almost as smooth as concealer, but it's not.
Not quite.
Not quite concealer.
Store brand
Yes,
concealer.
and
Yeah.
Ina's is like Sephora.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Taste is solid.
Taste
It's a perfect basic chocolate cake. I'll say that, perfect basic. Difficulty, it's like Ina's in a pinch.
Yes.
Yes.
In a pinch, on a budget.
Now we are on to Martha Stewart's chocolate cake recipe. So I'm excited about this one because cake flour usually means a more tender cake. So this cake should be light and airy, which I'm excited about. And then a third bowl, this is a 3-bowl project. We're going to add our butter. And Martha says to mix this with a rubber spatula. So we're basically creaming this all together by hand. Interesting. So I think this is very strange.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't make sense.
Well, I think it makes it so if somebody doesn't have a stand mixer or doesn't have an electric hand mixer,
It's like easy.
it's easy for them to do. This cake takes a lot of physical labor.
I'm just skeptical that the texture might be a bit dense because I'm not able to aerate this like a mixer would.
Still mixing.
Still mixing.
How's it going? Good?
I'm tired.
I'm good.
Okay. Next, we're gonna add the cocoa mixture. Once again, this is hard to stir. Okay, I've been mixing this for a very long time, and the butter will not incorporate into the mixture no matter what. I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, this batter looks really nice actually. It looks super fluffy. It's not broken anymore. It's heavy.
I know, I can't.
It's real heavy. Ooh, thick, real thick.
A really intense batter.
Real thick. If you look really closely at the batter, you can tell it's not completely smooth. There's these little pieces of fat. It could affect the texture of the end cake. So as Martha's cakes are baking, we'll go ahead and make her frosting. And just like the batter, it's all prepared by hand. This one's really beautiful. It looks like thick ganache, basically. So Martha's cakes are baked and they're cooled. And if you look closely, you can tell they're super cracked on top. And they also just feel drier. So you can hear, actually, how crusty it is. It's kind of like bread. Here we have Martha's cake, and I'll say it is the most beautiful one for sure. The frosting looks perfect, it's shiny, but I'm nervous that it's pretty frosting on a really bad cake, but maybe it's good. It feels dry. It's like crunchy.
This is a lot of chocolate cake for the day.
The texture's weird. The texture is kind of grainy, like dust kind of. It's drier than the other ones for sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a ton of flavor.
I was gonna say it looks like it could be in a magazine.
Yes, the appearance is magazine worthy,
Yeah.
which makes sense for Martha.
Yeah.
The frosting was just lipstick on a bad cake. Difficulty was a 10 out of 10. Yeah. This was a lot of mixing and it was not fun. Texture is dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just disappointing.
Dusty.
All you're thinking about is, gosh, I really need some good milk.
Like a glass of water. The taste is underwhelming. There's no bitterness or salt. It's just flat chocolate flavor. Flat. So the winner.
Do we want to start with the last place?
Okay, let's start last. Martha.
Martha, yeah.
Sorry, Martha, that was a bad cake. It's a beautiful frosting on a terrible cake. Second to last, Hershey's.
Yeah.
Too moist, like you can't really tell the frosting from the cake.
Kind of a mess, but like a good mess.
Yeah, it's fine. I would still be happy. Second place would be At a Pinch. It's a really good cake. I feel like with a little something else, it would have been absolutely perfect. And that little something, the winner was Ina.
Ina.
The coffee was super nice in it.
Yeah, it's a really delicious, rich, lovely cake.
It was a bit labor intensive, so I feel like a good alternative, if you're in a pinch, would be At a Pinch. It's a great cake, but it's no Martha cake.
Ina.
Ina cake. Well, it's no Martha cake too. Ben, thank you for your help making these cakes.
Thank you. I will never look at chocolate cake the same way ever again.
I'm glad I can do that for you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching me make 4 cakes today. If you've tried any of the recipes, please let us know. And if you've tried Martha's and you hate it as much as I do, please back me up in the comments because I'm kind of scared. And until next time, thank you so much.
This isn't gluten-free, but you know, I'm gonna indulge myself in anything.